Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. Kenny, after reviewing that game, what were some of your big takeaways, and specifically, how do you feel like the offense is progressing?
Big takeaways. Our guys never flinched. In the game, there was no panic getting down in the game. We just, kept playing the game. Uh, how the offense progressing? I think we've progressed really well, to be honest. From week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4 to week 5, we've gotten better. I mean, to have 500 yards of offense is really good football. We just got to finish in the red zone. 2 weeks ago we couldn't finish in the red zone. This week we can't finish inside the 5. So we got better from the 20 to the 5. We just got to get better from the 5 to the goal line now. And if you just fix those areas alone, you have 10 more points per game. But we're still top 10 in the country in time of possession. And sometimes winning isn't a statistic that you read. But when you take care of the football, you play good defense. That's been a recipe to win a lot of games for a long time. And so I think there are some things our offense is doing that's also elite, taking care of the football at an elite level. And we're taking the ball at an elite level. Now we just got to finish drives, and to combine that with how we're playing defense, we can be a force if we do that.
Just to follow up on that, how much of that is the short red or short yardage? How much of that is Scadaboo, Lee Faltanu related, and how much are just other things that are just kind of random?
Yeah, well, obviously Scat's really good, right? So to say like not having Scat, of course, that's definitely real. But it's a comedy of things. I mean, it's us as a staff. Then it's one position. Then it's another position. Then it's us. Then it's another position. Another position. Another position. Us. Another position. It's like, can we just all do it right at the same time? Like, can we have a good play and this at the same time? Right now, it's one of those. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong in those situations. We just haven't put it together. But not that we can't. We will. It just hasn't happened yet, which is frustrating. But like I said, when you possess the ball like we possess it, when you take care of it, and you're just short red zone scoring, like those are things that we can fix and get better at throughout the year. Way worse if you're averaging like 200 yards a game, 250 a game, where you physically can't move the ball on first downs. We don't have a problem with that. We just got to get better at the situations.
Hi, Kenny. Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. You said after the TCU win that the team is not playing up to its potential, and I got to think that maybe the offensive line is one of those areas. 4 returning starters, all seniors. You brought a transfer senior as the 5th starter. When you talk about the issues in the red zone, talk about the issues in short yardage, I know it doesn't fall squarely on the offensive line, but what are some of the issues that you've seen, maybe the common thread from week 1 until now, and how do you go about fixing that? Another follow-up, Wade Helton in fall camp was looked at center. He played left guard for like over 70 snaps. Is that the plan for him moving forward?
Yeah. Went into the first question. I think we're top 25 in the country in rushing. I think we have the leading rusher in yards per carry in our league. It's pretty good for the O-line. We're just not in those must-run scenarios. We're just not being productive. It's not one position group. It's a accumulation of things that aren't working in that scenario. So I don't think it's just the offensive line. I think our offensive line, like I said, I don't know where we rank in rushing, but I do know we have the leading rusher in our league, yards per carry, over 6 yards per carry for him, and that all stems from the offensive line. In terms of Wade, we wanted to get Wade and Clem in the game more. We usually play 7 offensive linemen. We didn't do that in the first few weeks. I thought our guys were getting tired. We've played over 80 snaps back-to-back games on offense because of the control we've been able to create. So we needed to get those guys on the field more to be fresher later. And I think, part of our drives had those guys in it that scored touchdowns. So I think it was good for us to go 7 deep. You could see Wade at some center. It's harder to move guys in and out of center than it is in and out of guard. So we're just trying to get the best guys in the field. Ben's playing really well right now at center. So it's like, man, do you mess up your center, but you want to get more guys rotating? So it's kind of you're kind of stuck in a weird rut there with, Wade's probably more of a center, but he's good at guard and we need him in, but then do you want to change centers? So we're kind of, back and forth with that, I would say. We haven't really settled on a solution. We'll work on some things this week.
Hey, Kenny. Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. You said after the game on Saturday that you got told at the start of the season that you'd be 4-1 at this point and 2-0 in Big 12 play, that you'd be elated. So what have you been impressed by about your team so far? What have they shown you? You've learned about them and how they're prepared to handle the challenges
We
going
play
forward.
hard. It wasn't a flash in the pan. Last year, picked dead last. Of course, you're going to play with the chip on your shoulder. We still play with the chip on our shoulder. Like, we still play hard. And when you play hard and you care, you win a lot of close games. So what am I the most pleased with? Just how hard our guys play. I think every fan that watches, you may hate it if I go for a fourth down. You may hate it if we don't go for a fourth down. You may hate the play call. You may love the play call. Everybody has to appreciate how hard our guys play. And I think that's the one thing that we want to take pride in is how hard we play. And I think that's what I'm most excited about. Our guys play really hard, and it matters to them. And it matters to them to win, not for the individual awards, but to win as a team, as a collective team.
And I guess, quick follow-up, what are your just general thoughts on the challenge that lies ahead? A few undefeated teams remaining on your schedule?
Yeah, a few more undefeated teams that we get to face. We're on a roll. So, Utah's not undefeated, but their one loss was basically an unbelievably tight game versus Tech. I mean, unbelievably tight game the entire time. That in the first quarter, they throw a touchdown and there's an illegal man downfield that was really irrelevant to the play, calls it back, and the game's tied in the fourth quarter, if not for that one play, with 8-9 minutes left. Whole different football game. And, it's super exciting. Love it.
Coach Kevin Hicks, Arizona State on SI. Do you anticipate the bye week affording enough time for guys like X and Cyrus and Jalen to make a return?
Probably not. Maybe Jalen. The other two, probably not. I mean, we'll get some more information on them later, but I'd say probably not.
Hey, Coach, Justin Lester, host of Devil's Digest. In what ways did you see the defensive line step up in last game, and how do you feel like, in comparison to last year, this unit as a whole has kind of stepped up?
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody wanted us to go get transfers to come. Oh, we can't sack the quarterback. Just take a transfer. No, we have good players. Develop, get bigger, understand the scheme, understand our twist games better, and those guys as a whole being able to come back, being in the system, they're rushing together in team rush. Our twist games are really good right now. They're winning one-on-ones when needed. They're containing the quarterback, keeping him in the pocket. And then in the run game, our defensive tackles, who recorded no stats, they kept the guys off the backers. And I think sometimes defensive tackles can get lost in the shuffle of the statistic game. But those guys are playing absolutely critical for us to get our linebackers free on running backs in the zone and the gap scheme world. And they're doing a great job. So I'd say what separates it, our guys are bigger and stronger than they were last year. They understand how to work together as a team. They understand the value of that. And it's starting to show up. And we saw it in camp. We saw it in spring ball. I kind of anticipated this happening. Not to this level. I mean, second in the country in sacks. That's almost as good as it gets. But I definitely expected a much improved pass rush because we saw it.
And just one quick follow-up. Prince Dorba, with his performance and what he provides as a veteran presence, what does he provide to the unit as well?
Yeah, I mean, he's just steady Eddie. He comes every day, he works, he brings a smile. He works, he brings a smile. He works, he brings a smile. I mean, it's same guy every single day. And he's an unbelievable kid. So, I mean, he's to see him, we showed all of the sack tape or fumble tape from the prior year, but from opposing quarterback last week, and we said, listen, we can create a sack fumble. I mean, I was running around on the field on Wednesday saying we can create a sack fumble. And for him to be able to take that into the game and rip at the ball in the most critical moment, take what we were yelling, take what we were coaching, is just unbelievable job by him winning and then taking the little detail of now attack the football. And it was critical play in the game.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devil's Digest. For you, you mentioned, kind of to build off Blake's question about being 4-1 at this point in the season and how it feels good to be at this period. But going into the bye week after 3 straight wins, how do you kind of build off of that and make sure that your team doesn't get a little bit complacent now back in the top 25 rankings and kind of getting back into some positive light going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, top 25 rank. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Yep. So, great. stuff. I think Utah should 100% be in the top 25. I mean, their one loss is to a Texas Tech team that could be, top 5 team in the country. So I mean, I think that we're about to face a team that's definitely a top 25 opponent, in my opinion. So for us, it's get better. Good teams get better throughout the year. I think we've done that so far throughout this year. I think we're a better team than we are versus NAU. I think we're a better team than we started the first half of Mississippi State. And I think we're getting better, and hopefully we continue to get better because that's what the best teams do. The only way to get better is to work. No other shortcuts. It's to work.
Thanks. I agree with you about second guessing decisions. If I ever ask you about it, it'll just be for context, right? Like, don't set somebody up like that. Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. You were talking earlier about having a chip on your shoulder, and we just talked about top 25.
Yep.
I took a look at it. There's Oregon, and then the only other teams from this half of the country are the last 3 teams in the top 25. I think it's biased. I think it's stupid, and it makes me want to stand on a table and yell. So I'm curious, does that feed into you guys having a chip on your shoulder, or are you ticked off about other stuff and trying to gain your respect?
Not at all. I mean, I just want to be the best we can be. I want to be the best football team we can be, and we've yet to play the best football game we can play. We've played good times on defense. We've played bad on defense at times. We've played really good on offense at times. We've played horrible on offense at times. I just want to put it together. Like, let's play our best ball at the same exact time for 60 minutes. 30 minutes first, right? And then 45, and then 60. But we've yet to do that. The good thing is we're finding ways to win. Good teams find ways to win. When the offense needs it, the defense picks them up. When the defense needs it, the offense picks them up. And I think that's what good teams do. Now, great teams, they can put it all together. We've yet to really do that, and I think that's our challenge is let's go into this week, let's find the areas of improvement individually and as a team. Let's attack them, right, while also getting our bodies ready, resting our bodies. We're not going to go out there and bang and hit, right? We're going to rest our bodies, but we got to get better at the things we have to get better at. And we have to leave the bye week a better football team, not getting ready for Utah, getting ready for us. And then we'll worry about Utah come Thursday. Coaches are already starting to prepare, but the players, let's worry about us right now, and then we'll get into Utah towards the end of the bye.
Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. Speaking of chips and predictions, there was a funny meme, in August, all the CBS Sports Line guys, all their heads, and the record and the predictions for the Big 12, and all of them had somebody other than the defending Big 12 champs. One of their major reasons why was because in 24 you had an outstanding close game record, and they just assumed there's no way you can repeat that again. So I ask, why are you repeating that again?
I don't know. Don't jinx us. I think we have competitive people. I said it after the game. I think when you have competitive people, competitive people are used to being in competitive moments. If you have people who are on TikTok all day, right, they're probably not used to being in the biggest playing a competitive moment and having to be your best all the time. When you have people who, they play these weird like Clash of the Clans and all this other stuff now, but they're like making decisions in real time at the lunchroom, and I'm like, well, that's better than watching a video, right? At least they want to compete, and they're yelling at each other, they're sitting next to each other. I'm like, what is going on right now? But that's what they do. They don't play card games. They play this. Then some guys play card games during Friday Night 4 games. Competitive people are used to competing. And when you're used to competing, you're used to being in pressure scenarios, so it's really not a pressure scenario because you're used to it. So I just think getting guys that love competing, love competition, and then prepare to be a champion, and you combine those two things, and I think the moment, is a little bit easier for those type of guys because, you're used to it. You're used to being at game point, whether it's on the field in front of an unbelievable fan, an unbelievable crowd, or whether it's at home in your living room. Like, you're used to being in that moment where this is the most important thing.
Coach Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. Your history with Kyle Whittingham is pretty well chronicled at this point, but with the new offense with Jason Beck and Devin Dampier leading it, what are you seeing just with that unit?
Yeah, obviously they're way more of a triple option. I would say they kind of went back to the Alex Smith era, and that era of Utah football, which is, when you can run the ball and you have the O-line like they do, and Dampier's played awesome this year, and he's athletic. He can throw the ball downfield. It creates a +1 run. And when you're already good up front and then you add a +1, it makes you better. So different, play with tempo this year, so it's not as much ball control, which is a little different from that perspective. But they definitely put you in hard spots schematically with what they do with the +1 runs and the zone read game and the boots and the shots and the screens and the funny formations. Like you don't have a chance to prepare for everything they do. It's just not possible. There's not. I don't care if we have a bye. We'll confuse our kids if we try to defend everything that they've done this year and have done last year. They just do too much. So we got to worry about us and being fundamentally sound. Then obviously you guys know how I feel about Coach Whittingham. I think he's one of the best coaches in this generation. His ability to continually win and adapt and change, it's really incredible what he's accomplished there. And hopefully we're getting closer and closer and closer to creating a program similar to theirs.
Yeah, Kenny, you've had some young players really kind of rise to the occasion here recently between Rodney Bimage and Boogie Wilson and Martell Hughes and Wade Helton. So how heartened are you by that, given especially how senior laden that your team is and the impact of that moving forward?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to have all those guys step up, all going to be Sun Devils for a long time, and we've poured into them a lot, and they've really worked to get to the point that they're at. And for them to be playing at the level they're at, to have guys going in, two of those guys, weren't starters to start the season. They were half starters, and now they're, full-time guys and go in and play the way we played on defense. It's awesome to have, when you're looking at the future and you see those guys in the future, you can sleep a little bit better at night knowing that you have, a foundation of a program now for the future. I couldn't always say we had that foundation. I think we have that foundation now to build off of.
Anything that jumps out about Martell or Rodney specifically?
Yeah, Martell, physicality. He's playing very, very physical right now. I know everybody sees the interception, but they don't see the physicality he's playing with. And then he's just an intelligent person. He's just smart. Like, he goes down. He's a sophomore, catches an interception, goes down. Right? It didn't even flinch. He just understood the mission. It wasn't to score a touchdown. It wasn't to throw the ball into the crowd after you scored. It was to go down, right? And then in terms of Rodney, I just think he's a competitor. I think he competes every day in practice. I think it shows up, and I think the more reps he gets, the better he's going to get in live settings.
Hey, Coach. Luke Lumler, Sun Devil Source. In a similar vein to Chris's question, after the game on Friday, you mentioned how Martell said to the other linebackers in the room, "We're going to be really young next year," and they said, "No, Martell, you're going to be old next year." And so for what does that say about potentially the confidence that you have in this team's culture to build leaders even as juniors?
Yeah, I definitely think you get to make what you want it to be here. I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, you're a true freshman and you want to say something, you can say it. You're not scared to say it. If you can say something that adds value to our team, if your passion bleeds through and people can feel it, they want that. So I think naturally, just when you let guys be themselves, I think they can lead their own way. And I think that's the biggest thing that we want in this program is I want a whole bunch of people who believe they can be themselves so they can lead the way that is natural. If you force people to lead in an unnatural way, I think you're asking people to fail. You're asking people to get uncomfortable in a leadership role, which people say all the time, well, I'm not comfortable leading. Well, are you comfortable being yourself? How about you just do that? That is leading. Leading is just being yourself. Whether you're a talker, whether you're not, whether you are emotional, whether you're quiet, everybody can lead somebody else in a different group, can be led by different people by just being yourself and having really, really good habits. So I think Martell has really good habits, and I think naturally that makes him a really good leader.
Hey, Coach, circling back to the defensive line and just saying in general, like up front, doing their job, playing how they're supposed to, how much more do you another season with Coach Reynolds? Obviously after the first season, but just them working with Coach Reynolds in general, how much influence has he had on them?
Yeah, he's a phenomenal football coach. Professional defensive linemen come to train with him at the Pass Rush Summit. Like, we don't send him on the road to recruit. He doesn't leave here. Like, why? Because I want him around our players. Why? Because I don't want him to go back to the NFL, right? So, like, when you're looking at where you want to play football, like, we're telling you this guy isn't a recruiter. We're not even letting him go on the road. If your goal is to be developed, well, we're literally waving the flag of he's not a recruiter, he's a developer of people. And I say people because it's his strength is not just coaching football. His strength is discipline and people. Ask him about what he eats one day. His ability to be disciplined in that and then carry that discipline over into the defensive line room and set a standard in that room is he's a professional coach. And that's why we don't put him on the road, because I want people to know if you come here, it's about being developed by one of the best defensive line coaches in the country, and I want to make sure we keep him here.
Hey, Kenny, Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. On the topic of the young guys again, with this bye week, how is the coaching staff going to be able to kind of further evaluate maybe some of these guys that aren't in the too deep or, just trying to get more reps or things like that? Are there opportunities for that?
Yeah, so 2 of these days will be kind of lighter days for the vets, hour and 20-minute practices, helmets, no physical contact other than touch, right? And then the younger guys will go and we'll do like some scrimmages, or not some scrimmages, but some real live team periods here the last 30 minutes of the practice, 40 minutes of the practice to get really good work. Those younger guys will also be very, very involved in special teams this week. We need some other guys to step up. So we got to see which guys are going to step up in special teams towards this end of the year. So I would say for the younger guys, it's really those special teams periods, that end of practice. So about an hour a day is going to be focused on really 45 minutes to an hour a day on just the younger guys. And then the third week of practice, the third day is going to be a high workload day for the vets, so we don't have 2 straight weeks of not a high workload. So we got to have one day that's super high, like it's a game week, get into the 500s, 550s. That way, we're not losing losing the conditioning level, not having one of those days in the next 2 weeks.
Hey, Coach, Adam Kuhn, Cronkite News. You had 8 different guys record receptions last game. Do you feel like some of these other guys on the offense are feeling more comfortable, and that you as a coaching staff are starting to kind of carve out roles for them?
Yeah, I definitely think we're figuring it out. I think that takes time. It's funny that people think that you're just going to continue last season. Let's just keep doing it, right? No, every year's a new year. And you look at our first 5 games last year, I'd love to see the comparison. I'm not going to go back and do it because it's irrelevant to our team this year, but y'all may be bored. Y'all can do something, right? If you want to, right? And compare what our first 5 games were last year. How did we win games? What were the stats? What was the turnover margin? What was the yardage? What was the completion percentage? What was the yards per carry? How good were we in the red zone? How many guys touched the ball? And compare that towards weeks, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good offenses and good teams, good coaches, good players can get better as the season progresses. And that is our goal. And we have a very tough schedule this year. And we have to continue to get better. So I think to answer your question, it's very simple. We're learning more about our team. Our players are learning more about each other in these moments because we have a lot of new skill guys. And that's why you're seeing the production that you're seeing on offense. We just can't score in the low red zone right now. Once that gets fixed, it's going to be a whole different narrative just like that if we're scoring in the low red zone.